Hello, crypto boys and ghouls. Welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptomancer, where we feature content on play to earn gaming on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And today I just want to do a quick video around renting cards in the new Peakmonsters auto rental system. So you may have a number of cards in your inventory that you may not be using, that you have copies of that you're maybe keeping for investment purposes, or that otherwise are just collecting dust and not being used, that you could get rental revenue from. And in this case, I have a number of uh, Gin Chihuahuas that I had picked up and I'm just kind of sitting on because I think the card is fantastic and will definitely appreciate in value over time. But that being said, there's a number of them, and if you look at what they're renting at in the market right now, per peak months, or excuse me, for per Splinterlands, 0.4, 0.5, I mean, under one DEC a day, really not a great amount of revenue potential here. But when you have, let's say you have 40 or 50 of these cards, if you put 40 or 50 of these on the market at, let's say, 1 or 2 DEC a day, that's, 50, 40 cents a day they can be gaining just in passive income. What is probably interesting to see if you go into Peakmonsters auto rental system, if you go here to configure your CP bid, you can see that right now the min bid is actually 20 CP, but there's a lot of 80 CP per DEC rentals being automatically filled right now. And if you go to a calculator and the Gin Chihuahua is 100 CP, if I divided that by 80 CP, I could rent that out for 1.25 DEC immediately. And let's try that as an example. So the takeaway here is what Splinterlands is showing you in their rental pricing is not really accurate for what Peakmonsters is picking up. So if I want to rent out a Gin Chihuahua for 80 CP for DEC, that's 1.25 DEC a day. I place that here. Within probably 5 to 10 seconds, that's going to get picked up by Peakmonsters and applied to an existing open automatic rental. You can see right here it's available. It's the J34 card. If I go out, refresh my screen. Oops. Let's go to Dragon. And yep, J34 was picked up immediately. So I can go through here and rent some more of these out at 1.25. If I have 50 of these, that's like, I don't know what, over 60 DEC a day that otherwise I wouldn't be getting, that I can now take advantage of. So you may be asking, or wondering why would you spend the time to manually put in these rentals for 1 DEC a day? It seems like it's kind of silly, right? Well, let me walk through the math and give an example of why it might make sense. So for me personally, I recently put in a bid on Peakmonsters for 40 Gin Chihuahuas at $4 each. So I bought 40 Gin Chihuahuas at $160, basically was my investment cost here. They're 100 DEC per card, and at 80 DEC auto rental rate per card, I can rent those out immediately for 1.25 DEC a day. Now, if I have 40 of those I'm renting out because they're just sitting in my inventory doing nothing, it's 50 DEC in passive income per day that I'm getting for doing basically nothing. And 50 DEC, if you look at the current price of DEC here, it is that. So 50 DEC times 0.01207237. So every day, just by having those cards on the rental market, I'm making 60 cents a day for just renting Gin Chihuahuas. So every month, I'm making $18 and change if I just keep those rentals going. So again, if you look at my initial investment of those Gin Chihuahuas, $160, divided by $18 a month, in less than 9 months, I will have completely paid off my initial investment costs in those Gin Chihuahuas by renting them out and doing nothing. And in 9 months, so in, let's say, July of next year, I'll have a completely free 40 gin chihuahuas. And let's say they double in price, which would not be unheard of. Let's say they're $8 a piece. I can sell those 100, or excuse me, 40 gin chihuahuas for $320 and basically net that as profit, because by renting them out over the last 9 months, it's cost me nothing. So again, this is the power of Splinterlands, the compounding, the rental system, the many ways to earn. So again, it may seem trivial, it may seem silly, but it could very well be worth the time. I think a lot of people might say, well, having $320 US for free 9 months later is not a bad deal. So that's kind of the math, and that's how it works. The one thing I've noticed is that if you have rental renewals or you have stuff that might be outdated, you might need to cancel those, clear those, and re-enter those manually here within the Splinterlands interface for Peakmonsters to pick those up and automatically rent those. For some reason, if you change the price in bulk on Peakmonsters, or if it's a rental renewal or an older rental, their automatic rental system is not picking that up automatically and re-renting those out. So you may need to go in periodically and cancel rentals and re-rent them. It may or may not be worth your time, but again, definitely something to consider with a new rental system. I'm sure Jarvie will be fixing this so it'll be more automatic and you won't have to cancel things and manually enter them. But just be aware of that. That's one of the things that I've seen as I've been going through and looking at the new rental system and how to take advantage of that. You can see here that rental was picked up immediately as well. So if you have cards that are just sitting in your inventory that you didn't think you'd be able to rent, look at the current CP for DEC bid on Peakmonsters. You may find, for example, if you have an old untamed legendary card sitting around that you're not using, this is 1,000 DEC divided by 80 CP per DEC. That's about 12.5 DEC per day that you could be getting off a card that you may not be using actively in your battles. So keep that in mind. Hopefully this is helpful as a quick tip. And until next time, keep stacking those stats.
That's entertainment.